All right, well here's Mike coming towards the launch ramp. He's going slowly. See, part of the key here is keeping the boat and the trailer aligned just as closely as possible, straight, fore and aft. And of course, you just want to remember that it's the back of the vehicle goes one way, the trailer goes the exact opposite way. And you want to go slow. So you see him getting to the water here. His helpers guiding him. That's a real big help to have someone there to assist you. And he's going to get out, make sure the vehicle's secure. His helper's going to get on the boat, and Mike's going to take care of the winch. You can see he's getting the line so that when the boat comes off the trailer, he's got something to hold on to. And I was releasing the winch. This is a pretty aggressive ramp, so on a roller trailer in particular, it's going to slide pretty darn fast. So you want to be careful with that. It's fine operation. Just be aware that winch handle is going to really come around like that. Now you can see his assistant unsnapping the tow strap, starting the motor. They signal each other, everything's all set. Now he's going to kick down the drive to get some traction. It's been kicked up to avoid any debris that might be on the ramp, and back away. Well, Dick, let's say I'm out there fishing and I get away from that buoy that we've been talking about. How can I figure out kind of where I am, and then what's the next thing to do? Okay, Paulie, anytime you're out fishing in the harbor here, you want to make sure you have some idea where you are, because this general safety and also so you can know how to get back. Obviously, you have to know where you are in order to get back to where you want to go. Right. So to do that, as you're out there cruising or fishing or whatever, just kind of look around and keep an eye on things and where you are, and have the chart out with you and kind of locate where you are within a reasonable distance. Okay. Okay. Well, we were out there fishing, and we're going around, and we found some fish out here, and the fog rolled in, and I just happened to be on a hump. Okay. And what do you know? There's on my chart, there's a 73-foot spot, and surrounded by 100-foot spots. So what I do, I noticed that as I was out there. So when the fog rolled in, I looked at my depth sounder, it said 73 feet, and I looked at my chart and said, hey, there's a 73, I must be right about there. Yeah. So I can go on here and mark my location on the chart. Okay. With a symbol that I like to use, a circle with an X in it. Okay. Now, with that circle there, I can navigate back to a known location on my chart, which happens to be our entrance marker here. Okay. So I just do just like I did before, take my power rules, walk them down to the magnetic compass rose. Yeah. And read the angle here of 200 and, let's see, it says 245 degrees. So now I know the course from here to here per compass is 245 degrees. Okay. So I draw my line, just like I did before, and I write 242 M on the compass, on the course. For magnetic. For a magnetic. In 2010 and 2011, we did a number of interesting shows. The first one that we've got a clip from is Life Rafts. I did that with Chris Quill of Landrigan Corporation in East Boston. And the idea was that in recent years, prices for life rafts have come down quite a bit in their sizes. So I thought it was a good idea to revisit the subject so you could be aware of the latest developments in that area. The next show we've got a clip from is the Bay State Woodies summer event, where I'm talking with Craig Laughlin. And Craig's talking about his old restored Garwood. So it's kind of interesting insight into the boat clubs that revolve around these old wooden boats. The final two clips are from 2011. The first one we filmed at Gray Barn Boat Works with William Colbert, and is on custom boat building. And the idea was to help you understand what custom boat builders do. And finally, the last clip is from one of our most recent shows on boating applications,
which I did with Paul Clark of Mac My Day of Manchester, Mass. And the idea there was to help you understand some of the really neat new applications that are available for boaters. So I think you're going to like the clips. Let's go take a look. So this is a recreational one. All right, can you tell us a little bit about this? What's different about it?
Okay, the different obviously is the shape. You're going to see it doesn't look like either of the rafts we just saw before, and the reason being is this is a self-riding life raft. Oh. So no matter how this one is deployed, it'll always roll itself back over and land the way it's supposed to, right side up.
Wow, that's a nice feature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially deploying it at night in a big wind, and you don't know, it could tumble a little bit, but this one will always land on its feet, if you will. Yeah, great design. Now this is kind of a large opening here. Is that a feature of this type of raft?
Yep, it's designed to have the larger opening in case you actually are in the raft and then say the Coast Guard comes and there's a helicopter and they need to extract you from the raft. You can actually stand up and hook the harness on and then they can pull you directly from the raft rather than getting in the water again.
Beautiful. Well, I know we got some other features we want to talk about here, but is there any other primary features that differentiate this yacht or a recreational raft from the commercial rafts that we talked about earlier?
The major difference is going to be the equipment inside, because the commercial rafts there's going to be required equipment, and these you can kind of play around with if you want to add, say, eyeglasses or something. When you bring it in for service, you could do something like that.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, inside the raft, we've got some a different feature, and that's the fact that you can inflate the floor, right?
Yep, on all commercial rafts that's available, and it's a nice feature on these recreational ones because what it does is actually give you an insulation from the water, so it's going to keep you a layer of air between you and the water, so the water's not wicking your body temperature out from underneath. Mm-hmm.
Any other features of the raft that we might want to share with the viewers?
Well, it's all going to have these, with the recreational, it's going to have these larger openings, which is definitely good because a lot of people tend to get seasick in the life rafts because you're just rocking and rolling, and you get airflow through the raft, which definitely helps with the seasickness.
Well, here's just another beautiful boat at the boat show, and it's owned by Craig Liftman. Hi, Craig.
Hey, how are you?
Good, Craig. Craig, can you tell us a little bit about your boat?
Sure. This is a 1936 Garwood split cockpit runabout. There were not a lot made, if you know anything about Garwoods. They're relatively low production boat compared to Chris Craft, which produced thousands. Over about a 25-year span, they only produced about 3,500 Garwoods.
Oh, really? Okay.
And in 1936, perhaps 15, 20, 16 footers was actually the smallest boat that Garwood made. They made them up to 33 feet.
So of a rare group, this was even more rare.
Yeah, it's a relatively rare boat.
Yeah. And how long have you had the boat, Craig?
I acquired her in about 2000 or 2001.
Oh, yeah.
She was up in a barn in Cape Cod, and then had her restored.
Oh, really?
And I've been maintaining her ever since.
What kind of shape was she in when you got her?
Rough shape, but the frames were all there.
Yeah.
The hull is original. We refastened the hull.
Okay.
The frames are original. We put a new transom on. Some of the decks were replaced, but all the side planks are original, which is pretty rare.
Oh, yeah. Well, Craig, we're focused in on the cockpit, the forward cockpit of your Garwood here. Can you give us a couple pointers about what's significant here? Maybe start with the instrumentation.
Sure. Those are the original gauges that have been restored. This is a gasoline gauge. There's a tack, which is critical. You've got temperature, oil, and oil pressure. Then you've got some navigation lights and a choke. And of course a bilge pump, very important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It looks like
with a wood boat.
An original steering wheel, maybe?
Yeah, original steering wheel. That's the throttle on there. The big lever is the throttle, and the center is a horn.
So it's very strong, but it tends initially to be pretty flexible. So can you show us how a custom boat builder actually stiffens up the boat to help it absorb the shock of out there in the water?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The first things that come into play are these stringers it's a 2x8 spruce, saturated with resin and then coated with glass. That adds a lot of longitudinal strength in the boat.
Okay.
Lateral strength is gained by bulkheads. There are actually 4 bulkheads that we put in this boat. There's one behind the engine that stiffens the boat in that area. It also supports the front end of the shaft tube.
Oh yeah.
There's one in front of the engine once again, to make a box around the engine area to,
Okay.
to stiffen that and add rigidity.
Okay.
And then the fuel tank would go about where we are here, and then to be a bulkhead in front of that, and then there'd also be the rope locker bulkhead in front of it.
Okay, all right.
To put a bulkhead in, which this is just a mock-up piece, it would go actually all the way across the bulk. This would be glassed with 3/4 ounce mat. It comes into play like this here.
Okay.
Then it would get glassed into, after grinding all the surfaces where the glass gets attached to the hull.
Yep.
You need that for adhesion.
Yep.
It would get stuck in with 3 layers of 1708 biaxial mat on either side, which then becomes like an angle line, and it stiffens the hull there.
Yes.
Then the wooden deck frame gets attached there again to that. And then the deck panel, composite panel, goes on top of that, and the whole thing gets fastened together mechanically and chemically on all surfaces.
Wow. So that really it really stiffens the boat up. It's
Yes.
already strong, but that gives it the rigidity it needs to keep its form.
Exactly, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. And this is the way that most boaters get their weather, or they historically have gotten their weather. They have a mobile, or they have a fixed VHF. And they get a weather forecast just like that, which is excellent, very reliable, been depended upon for years and years and years. But you know, it's nice to have a visual sometimes, and that's what an application will bring you, right?
Correct. Here's an example of called WeatherBug.
Okay.
And when you bring WeatherBug up, it uses its GPS to find a location, and it starts filling in the weather data.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So right now, actually, we're looking at an overlay. We've turned the overlay off,
All right.
just to make it a little bit clearer.
Yes.
It shows a map of the coast. It shows that there's a little pin in Gloucester, and it will tell us some weather data. It tells us the temperature right now and tells us the wind direction, the wind speed, for example.
Okay, so 68 degrees, and what's the wind speed?
20 miles per hour right now.
Wow,
So
okay.
it looks pretty breezy.
Yeah.
At the bottom, we have the choice of looking at a weekly forecast. So
What do you have in between? It looks like you've got some cameras in there.
There's some cameras that are associated with this WeatherBug program. These don't happen to be on the ocean side.
On the water, yeah, okay.
But
if they were, it'd be more interesting,
Yes, it
but
would
they
be.
still got cameras
Exactly.
that you can look at. And you mentioned the forecast down there.
Well, you can look at the forecast for a week. And it explains the forecast. It looks like right now there's a lot of data and a lot of information about the weather right now.
I imagine there is, yeah.
So we can take a look at an overlay like you would see on the television screen. We take a look at the settings.
All right.
It gives us all of these overlays, and we're going to look at...
We'll look at radar first.
We'll look at radar first.
All right.
So we've selected radar, and you'll see that this is the radar following across right now, coming into our area.
Okay, we'll see if there's any activity there.
There's some activity there.
Yeah, it looks like there's substantial activity there.
Yes.
So what we're seeing, blue I think is relatively mild.
It's light,
and
right.
then green is
Light green is a little bit
not too
more
bad.
severe.
Darker green is
Right.
worse. And then when you get in the yellow and orange, we got some serious weather in
Yes,
this area.
Exactly.
Well, that concludes our 100th show today. I hope you've enjoyed it, some of the clips we've been able to share with you, and perhaps more importantly, some of the shows we've been able to bring you over the years. We've tried very hard to make them informative and interesting and valuable, and I hope they've proven to be that way to you. Before I go, I'd like to say a couple thank yous to people. The staff at KPN TV have just been wonderful in helping me get the show produced, and I've had a couple camera people that have been really helpful over the years in participating in a variety of shows. Bob Rowley and Lois Budrose, so I'd like to thank them personally. And of course, I'd like to thank you, the Smart Boating viewer. I hope you'll come back and join me again soon.